Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. Now today's row is going to be 15 minutes long, but what I'm going to do this time is kind of shift the balance towards a moderate higher intensity than a lot of the low intensity stuff that we've been doing. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do 2 minutes at 20 strokes a minute at my kind of useful, loving 5 out of 10 walking up a flight of stairs intensity. But then we're going to do 3 minutes at 24 strokes a minute, and then we're going to increase our pace probably by round about 5 or 6 seconds, depending on how you're going to be rowing. But really, we're going to be taking up to like 7 or 8 out of 10 intensity. And that's going to take up 5 minutes. And we're basically going to do that 3 times, and that's our 15 minutes over. So we're just going to work that a little bit harder. Usually, these workouts I've been doing up until now have been the other way around, where it's been mostly low intensity with a little bit of higher intensity. This time, I'm changing that balance in order to help your body progress and increase, because the next jump after this one is going to be a 20-minute row if you're following this as a progression, all right? Hope that makes sense. So we're going to do a 4-minute warm-up beforehand. However, we still need to set up our machine. And on an RowAlong, that means setting your resistance first. Now, your resistance you're looking for is one where you get a nice connection from the stroke, but it doesn't feel like you have to tug and heave against it, but it also doesn't feel like you're just flapping in the wind. If you're using the RowAlong app for the Concept 2, then where I want you to set your lever is basically what I've just described, okay? Now, on a clean machine, what I suggest is that you set your lever to round about 5, okay? Because too high is the problem here, too low isn't a problem. But if you know about drag factor, then I suggest setting it between 120 and 130, and then you can adjust from there for comfort. But remember, you're not having to fight it, all right? And then on the RowAlong, well, I'll tend to do my tough workouts up at 12, but I'll do a lot of these training workouts like this one down at 9 in order to let me kind of work through the strokes and add in the power, okay? So maybe that's kind of where you might want to set yours. It's entirely up to you. What's also entirely up to you is where you set your foot stretcher height. Now, the global guide here is that you want to get into the front of the machine with your shins in a vertical position. That's what you're looking for. But if you're set too high, it can get a bit tough to get there. If you're set too low, your backside can scoot away from you as you go way past it. And you don't want that because that's how you lose power. So a good starting point, if you've never thought about this before, is that you set the strap to cover the bottom lace of your shoe, okay? That should then go over the balls of your feet, and that's where you can start. To be honest, again, slightly lower is better than slightly higher when it comes to your foot plates, because you really don't want to get bound up, and that's where all your angles change and your posture goes and stuff. I don't think I've said that before, but there you go, there's a little bit of a tidbit. So, 4-minute warm-up, we're going to do this at 20 strokes per minute, and I want you to start off at a very light intensity as though you were basically just standing up out of a squat. Then after a minute, we'll increase that intensity, we'll then do 2 minutes worth of drills, and then we'll get ready for our main row, okay? So if you are ready, then we're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Right, 20 strokes a minute, 1 stroke every 3 seconds, and like I say, I want you to just use this as a warm-up. Let your body get used to the fact we're going to be rowing today, especially because there's going to be an element of slightly higher intensity rowing today. I want to make sure that you let your body get used to the fact that this is what you're doing. And I certainly don't want you to hit the ground running full speed and risk injury. So for the time being, just think about your body rocking forwards into the front and then rocking backwards at the back of the stroke. So 1 o'clock forwards, 11 o'clock backwards. And then if you can try and think about straight arms as you're at the front as well, and keeping your arms straight, only pulling in at the back of the machine, and that will help the power get in there. Because I want you to push a little harder with your legs now to increase the power. So whereas you were nice and gentle before, now what you're looking for is that 5 out of 10 effort that we will be rowing our 20 strokes a minute sections at today. So you should feel like you're now putting in some effort. Shouldn't feel hard, but you should know that you're connecting to the machine. You should feel the weight of the stroke. Your heart rate will probably be climbing. It'll be faster breathing rate too. Kind of the intensity as though you were walking up lots of flights of stairs, okay? However, in 2 strokes time, we're going to stop and put 1 foot on the ground. Okay? So put one foot on the ground and then continue rowing. And what this is doing is helping you with that compression into the front. You've got more space to do it because you've only got one leg strapped in. So you can get into that forwards tilt at the front and you can slide far enough forwards for your shin to be in a vertical position. Last one here, and then let's swap over our feet. Oop, I got a bit tied in there. Forgot what I was doing. And then continue. So make sure and still give a nice push with the leg that's strapped in, but also make sure you're in that forwards tilt with your arms straight as you push. We'll take two more here. One more. Whee. Then strap that foot back in, get your legs straight, and row with your back and arms. Don't worry if you have a slight bend to your knees as you come forwards, but you don't want a huge bend, okay? You're not really wanting to generate any power from your legs here. It's all about swinging with your back first, and then pulling in your arms, then releasing your arms, and then tilting forwards again over your back. Let's take one more here, and then roll into the front with straight arms and a forwards tilt, and push out from the front with your legs. Don't worry about power here. A lot of people get caught up in thinking that they have to try and power into the machine. But all I want you to do is to really work on the timing between pushing with your feet and your hands connecting to the machine, and also keeping your arms straight and that forwards tilt as you push. Let's do two more, just as we hit zero. Whoosh. There we go. So that's our 4-minute warm-up done. Remember, we're going to be starting off at low intensity anyway, so you should be okay. However, have a quick drink, move up and down the rail a little bit to keep on moving, and I'll explain one more time what it is we're doing today. Okay then, so while I'm describing this, just have a little bit of a wiggle of your backside to release the pressure of your sit bones down on your glutes, which can cause a little bit of discomfort to your backside. So today's row is going to be 15 minutes long, and how we're going to break it down is into 3 5-minute chunks. And those 5-minute chunks are going to go like this. The first 2 minutes we're going to do at 20 strokes a minute and round about 5 out of 10 intensity. Then we're going to do 3 minutes at 24 strokes a minute and round about 7 out of 10 intensity, which is probably going to mean 5 or 6 seconds faster when you get up to those 24 strokes a minute. Then we're going to go back down to 20, back up to 24, back down to 20, back up to 24, and then we're done and we can go celebrate a great row and get on with our day, okay? So that's the row that we have ahead of us, and we might as well get started, all right? Especially because we're starting off at 20 strokes a minute. There's no worries about this one. So let's get ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. So all you're looking for the first 2 minutes here, and each time we come back to these 20 strokes a minute sections, is just to row at pretty much the same pace you were rowing the warm-up at that second minute when I was talking about walking up a flight of stairs. I'm hoping if you've been following the run of these workouts that have been building up over time, that you'll have been rowing at this 20 strokes a minute, 5 out of 10 intensity for long enough in those previous workouts that you now know the kind of pace that you should be hitting. And you're looking to try and be consistent about that pace, not only within these first 2 minutes as we start, but then each time we come back to the 20 strokes a minute, I want you to hit this pace again. But the truth is as you improve as a rower, what you'll find is that your perceived 5 out of 10 effort will gradually get faster. As you get stronger and fitter, you'll find that the pace that you're rowing at right now will actually be a distant memory. You'll be like, wow, I used to row that slow. Ideally, you do proper baseline tests in order to know when to increase your pace. That's where the 2K training pace things comes from. But you can still use perceived effort for these kind of rows. It works just as well, as long as you're honest about it. especially when it comes to increasing, which we're going to do in 2 more strokes time. Okay, so get ready to go up to 24 from now. So push a little harder with your legs, and what happens is your drive speed will increase, and you'll also, as a result of more power into the machine and the fact that you are taking 4 more strokes per minute than you were before, you should have noticed an increase in your pace. So I've gone up from 157 per 500 meters when I was rowing at 20 strokes a minute, down to 150, 151, which is bang on what I was saying about the pace increase. Of course, don't worry about my actual pace. It doesn't matter whether I'm slower than you or faster than you. What matters is you. Okay, so this is why I always do my workouts as time-based, not distance-based. So if I did this as like 1,000 meters, you might be finished oodles ahead of me and just wouldn't work as a row along. Whereas this way, if you're rowing 10 seconds faster than me, that's okay, because both of us still have just over a minute to go before we can swap down to 20 strokes a minute again. And there's a kind of percentage increase against our own performance. We'll both be increasing by the same amount relative to our own performance, if that makes sense. So all I'm saying is when I give numbers like 157 and 150, don't think that that's the pace that you have to row at, but do aim for the difference between the two. Okay, so I want you to try and go 5 or 6 seconds faster as you increase, which you're then going to take off in a few seconds time after this stroke. Here we go. So let's return to 20 strokes a minute. Back off. So I'm looking to go back down to 157 again, which I am, just to let my body recover. I mean, the 24s aren't too intense, but they definitely do take you up. Heart rate increases by a lot more than when you're rowing at this pace. Breathing rate goes up, and your perceived effort should go up to like 7 or 8 out of 10. And this is a great way to kind of jump ahead if you're trying to increase your time on the machine. So when we went from 12 minutes to 15, the first 15-minute row was just a single low intensity one to get used to rowing for 15 minutes. But then this one, because it adds a little bit more intensity, this prepares you for the next jump up to 20 minutes. And although these kind of zone 3, zone 4 heart rate workouts can be quite maligned in terms of their training effect, I think it's slightly misunderstood how useful mentally they can be, not just physically. 2 more strokes. Then we're gonna go up to 24 again. Okay, you ready? So push harder with the legs and try to get back to the pace that you were rowing at 24 strokes a minute last time. Because the point here is that you want it to be a little bit uncomfortable. You never really see huge improvements from comfort. Yes, the low intensity rows build your core foundation fitness to allow you to then be able to work harder in a row like this. But speed, power, you really need to kind of get out of your comfort zone if you're looking to improve them. Not that I'm saying everyone wants to perform better, but if nothing else, by mixing up intensities, by doing the low intensity, slower rows, the fast rows, and then these more moderate rows, it just mixes things up. So you don't get bored doing the same thing. I mean, lots is written about the importance of zone 2 training, whether you're a runner, a rower, or whatever. But pretty much all the time, in every article, there's then a paragraph about how to overcome the boredom aspect of it. Whether that means putting on a podcast or Netflix or even listening to me. Those zone 2 rows, eventually you have to learn to love them and learn how to kind of get through them. And so sprinkling on a little bit more excitement every 4 or 5 sessions can help too. Okay, 2 more strokes. 1 more. And back to 20. So that's 10 minutes done. And we can return to 20 strokes a minute again. Just ease off a bit. Not too much though. I want you still to get back to that pace that you've been rowing 20 strokes a minute at. After all, you still want to make sure and get the workout benefits from this row. And as we're in the back third of this row, sometimes it's round about now that fatigue can start to set in, not just physically, but mentally too, where if you've never really worked out at this intensity for this duration before, you can start to kind of drift a bit. And you usually notice that first by seeing your pace start to wander downwards. You're like, hang on, before I was rowing at 157. Now I'm down at 203, why is that? And usually it's a technique thing. And the first thing to go, technique-wise, is your posture and your backswing. So as we get into our final 3 minutes, let's just take a moment to think about how we're meant to be rowing to keep on going nice and strong. So here we go then, and push a little harder with the legs, put in more power to give you a faster drive speed, but then also complement that with a faster or slightly faster recovery to the front. And really, if you can just think about the sequencing and your body positions as you push with your legs, and then as you initiate your recovery, usually everything else looks after itself. So as you come to the front of the machine, make sure your arms are straight, relaxed though, not too tense. If I can see your triceps bulging out of your arms, you're way too tense as you come forwards. But arms straight, fingers hooked over the handle. It's not a death grip. And then your upper body should be tilting forwards to a 1 o'clock position. Again, it's a tilt, a hinge over your hips. You're not curling your upper or lower body to get there. Then slide forwards far enough for your shins to be in a vertical position. And this is where you need to watch your posture, because if you have a tucked tailbone underneath you and your hips rolled backwards as you come into the front, that's when it's really easy to overcompress, shins go way past vertical. But then push out with your legs, holding the forwards tilt and straight arms. And then as your legs are halfway through the drive, swing your back and pull in your arms. And then instantly let your arms come away from you, which then triggers your forwards tilt so that your arms are over your knees before your knees bend. Then bend your knees and roll into the front, ready for the last stroke. I know, sometimes I should really start off the row with that stuff, but I usually do, to be fair. So anyway, keep rowing lightly, just to have a quick cool down while I'm saying goodbye. Remember, I do have a cool down up here as well that you can do that then has a stretching section on the end. So either do that next, or if you're off to do some kind of resistance training or something, then super enjoy that. Then think about doing some kind of stretching afterwards, okay? So thanks so much for joining me for this 15-minute row. Hopefully it got your intensity up. You can tell I'm out of breath, so I got a nice little row out of that. Really helped me build back up. I was a little bit poorly for a while. I had the winter flu bug. And so these, making these videos for you are actually really helping me. How selfish. In fact, would that be wrong if that was this workout's hashtag? If it was hashtag selfish, would that be wrong? Would there be something? Let's just do that. If you're going to use a hashtag to post on your socials and whatever, then just go hashtag selfish. Or you can do I'm not selfish, because it's like, you're not, but I am, because I'm doing this. You get what I mean. Some kind of selfish reference as a hashtag, and we'll go, oh, look at that. All right, so I should really go have a lie down somewhere, shouldn't I? I'm obviously not completely over the bug, because I've gone a bit loopy. Thank you so much for joining me for this one, and I'm seriously putting up with me. I mean, nobody else does. Why else do you think I'm in the studio on my own? Thanks for putting up with this road, for joining me. Hopefully you're seeing the progress that I'm talking about. I really hope you are. Please leave me some kind of a comment somewhere on the socials, on the videos, or wherever. Let me know how you're finding them. Any feedback, whatever, I'm here. I'm kind of very open to hearing it, but unless you say that I talk too much, in which case, no, I don't. So thank you so much for joining me. It's the third time I've said that. I will see you in a future video. Until then, take care, be well, bye-bye.